Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and today is going to be a little bit of a weird one, or a different one at the very least. I have realized I never went over the original version of the Chapter 7 map. Now, I know we're in Chapter 8, Season 3. We're about a year and a half ahead um, from when this would have been released, but I never went over the Chapter 7 Season 1 map, and you only saw the Chapter 7 Season 7 map, which was the final version, so I kind of want to show what this map looked like on the base, because Chapter 6 and subsequently Chapter 7 were both very, very important chapters to my sort of map building process. Chapter 6 was working with different architectural styles, while Chapter 7 was working more on a larger scale. As you can see, this is the same size of map that Chapter 8 is. Of course, Chapter 8 is naturally maybe a little bit larger, just given the space of water compared to land. While Chapter 8 still has a bit of water, this one's generally larger. This is kind of my first real go at a full-sized map, and part of me does want to go back and maybe recreate some other maps on this scale, but each of these maps take me about 6 months. I'm about done with Chapter 9. I'm so happy that I didn't burn out, just simply because that entire project is absolutely giant, and it's kind of an amalgamation of what Chapter 6 and both Chapter 6, 7, and 8 all work together to do. Chapter 8 was definitely my kind of doing more detail, and Chapter 9 is going to be the sort of conclusion of that right before Chapter 10, where Chapter 10 sort of goes into a full-sized, this is huge, like this is a big thing. And I don't know if I'm going to make it as large as Chapter 9. Chapter 9 is about, I don't know, almost 25% larger than this map, so yeah. Anyway, let's start with our first POI. This POI is called the Sanctum. You may notice sort of a different architectural style on this map. Every map has a different architectural style. I already went over that. Chapter 1 was like general medieval. Chapter 2 was futuristic, but sort of modern as well. Chapter 3 was sort of floating island, ancient ruin theme. Chapter 4 was primal, without many buildings. Chapter 5 was Greek. Chapter 6 was sort of like Western European, and then Chapter 7 was Eastern European. So like you'll see a lot of German, Russian inspiration. Chapter 6 had a lot of like Spanish, Italian, and Norse, Nordic inspiration. This map still does have the French style, the Italian, Spanish kind of feel across the board, but there are slight differences across the board. Um, you can also notice that with the map, just given the fact that there's a bunch of colder looking biomes, and Europe is usually a colder region on Earth. So, with that architectural style, you'd expect that. Chapter 8 is West Coast as well as Latin American themed. So, South America as well as just the West Coast. But without further ado, as you can see, the Sanctum is a pretty simple POI. It's like, yes, it has ornate architecture, but I do like making large building POIs because A, they look a lot more grand than they actually are, and B, they take a lot less time than they actually seem to take up. Anyway, going across here, it kind of is on a moat, and the entire building is set up on this large, like, castle style island. Now, there is lore behind this place, but the lore really does not matter. It's just a little bit of world building, and, you know, there's no reason to explain it. Anyway, let's move on to probably my favorite POI on this map. Actually, it might be my second favorite POI on this map. Maybe third. Honestly, there's a lot of good POIs. This is up there. Let's just say that. This is Torte Town. Torte is the ooh, wait, what? I don't know what language it is for I think it's is it oh no. I'm pretty sure it means pizza. I know it means pizza. Um but it's like it's a typical like town style POI, and this is one of my favorite town POIs I have ever done. It was inspired off of like just a typical town out in I think I just saw this out in Meadows, or like I didn't go to Ireland, but this is an Irish style POI, and I just sort of thought I could take inspiration from it, and I did. Also, there is a specific like you'll notice there's like VFX everywhere. This was before Vibrant Visuals, before I could have shadows and stuff, so it's kind of nice to have shadows. But it's a pretty nice POI. It's simple. Here's our first instance of See and Go Gas. It just doesn't have the logo. Chapter 8, Chapter 7, Season 6 had that. But anyway, as you can see, we have the pizza hall, which is like a convenience store. Oh, I love making convenience stores. You may have seen in the Chapter 9 City teaser, there is a convenience store there. You have a Grove Balls Grub and Pub, and then you actually have the pizza parlor, which is pretty simple. Ooh, I think is there more seating over here? There is. Um, but yeah, it's very simple. Nothing too major with it. It's pretty cool. Anyway, going across, we'll go up to the desert. This is one of the smallest deserts I've done on terms of like ratio. But this is Great Bridge Gorge, and Great Bridge Gorge was inspired by Breath of the Wild's Lake Hylia Bridge or Hylia Great Bridge. I don't know. It's one of those. But it's pretty simple style. Nothing too major. It was Mexican or wow, sorry, nope, Spanish in architectural style. So yeah, as you can see over here on this POI, this I don't remember the name of. I think it's Vibrant Vistas, Vibrant, Vibrant Vernal Villas, which is like, never mind. It's like young. I'm pretty sure vernal is a term for young. I'm pretty sure. I should have done like a Verde Villas or something. But yes, this is like a large like mansion style POI. You just have a load of mansions. These were so fun to make. Gosh. Wow. Yeah, these ones were very fun buildings to create. They were somewhat difficult to just like you may also notice there's a lot less detail when it comes to buildings at times. But that's fine. It's cool. We have this I think this is like one of the only caves on this map. I have made an effort to do more like cave style locations, and I think that's smart, but this is definitely one of my favorite caves that I've ever done. This one is just absolutely glorious. But it was going it a lot of these places are very I remember chapter 7 very fondly, but it was also a chapter that I burnt out heavily on. Over here we have Dusty Dunes, a ruined like city style area. I don't know. I don't really remember the inspiration. I think I just wanted to do something like that. Over here, though, we have a POI called Countryside Clubhouse. Yeah, that. And it's a pretty fun POI. I really like this one. It got removed season 3 and was replaced with a better POI. I might just go over multiple seasons. But yeah, very fun. Over here is Aegis Airport. And you may have noticed there appears to be some like weird colored vines. Originally they were green, but they aren't green anymore. And there is also this large 0 point crack. Now the story behind the 0 point in the start of chapter 7 was that it was sort of in chapter 6 it got fragmented, and in the end of chapter 6 it got re-put together, and it took us to reality 1080b, which is Celestia. That's the name of the whole kingdom island style thing. Wow, this place is so pretty. And it's a pretty simple like story. The 0 point was just trying to find places to harbor its energy, and it just went to I think it went to 4 areas respectively. And we'll visit all those areas. Over here is Farmland Freeway. Yes. This is Irish. Ooh, is it Irish or is it Finland? What do you call that? Finland. I forgot the word for like Finland style stuff, but it's I think this was inspired by Finland. architecture and things like that. This is one of my favorite freaking rivers of all time. I don't know why. Like, this area in particular is one of my favorite views because it really encapsulates kind of the feeling that I went for Chapter 7, and that was flat grounds, big forests, kind of a sense of less is more, sort of to show the lore and the aging of this reality and how long it had been since this place was like fully and truly kind of in its prime. But over here, we have Nuclear Knoll. Now, I don't really have an explanation as to why there's 0 point energy in the power plant. I probably should not have used that, but I was inspired off of Chernobyl, obviously, because power plant destroyed Europe theme, sort of Chernobyl style. Yeah, that's just the general thing. But it's pretty cool. You can see it. This is one of my favorite views. There's a lot of views on this map which are absolutely amazing. I just wish I didn't. The way I made this map was I did the landscape first and then went into the POIs, which that was a mistake of all mistakes. But over here we have Sanjuin. Why did I say it like that? Sanjuin Shores, and this is sort of like a creepy style area. And it did not deliver. But the Bloodstone Church did, and of course, this is connected directly to the lore of Lawrence and stuff, and his daughter who died. But yes, it's a pretty nice POI. I like it. There's a hanging tree, if you know what that is. Sort of scary, but blah blah blah. Forget it. Of course, I kind of retconned the location of where the Bloodstone Church is. That's just sort of in the story now, just a lesser version of it. Over here, we have the Gulag. Now, this is a Russian-style POI. I put a lot of the Russian and German-inspired areas near the mountains, even though Germany doesn't actually have it. Like, it snows there, and it's very similar with like Russia. I mean, Russia has they all have mountains. Europe is a very mountainous region, just like Asia or places in Asia. Sorry, not all of Asia. There's like Iran and stuff, and those are mostly just deserts. But this is like I love this POI with all my heart. This was one of the first. I think this was the first POI I did on this map, and this remains one of my favorite POIs I've ever done, and I am maybe thinking of reusing it for something in the future. But as you can see, there's a little 0 point marker over here, and seems like the 0 point wanted to choose this little island up here as its place because this is like I was sort of inspired off of like island prisons, something like forgot the name of it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Oh wow, I completely skipped over my favorite POI on this map. Oh, is this my favorite? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if it's my favorite. It's one of my favorites. Ooh, no. This is not my favorite. My favorite is in the bottom right hand corner. Over here is Risky Riviera. And this took so long. This like POI, the city style POI took ages because every building has a detailed interior. Oh, I forgot about that building. This building kind of has some story to it. But it's a this was a long time coming, and I think I forgot to ever finish this building. And throughout the seasons, the story of it was gonna be like it's finished as the chapter goes by, and I just didn't. I removed it by season 5, and I just did not complete it. But originally, I was gonna have like a little fort over here, and this is like, of course, an Italian style area. Wait, no, I think this is. Is this the Spain? No, this one's the Italian. Italy and Spain have very similar architectural styles. It is sort of difficult to differentiate the two. Over here is Celestia Basin. There is some story behind this. Maybe I will. I think I'm going to do videos going over many of the Chapter 7 seasons just because Chapter 7 was amazing. I think it's my favorite chapter currently, but Chapter 8 probably will top it, and then Chapter 9 will wipe every chapter out of the water, maybe other than Chapter 10, but I am so excited for the story of Chapter 9. It is so Fun. It took me ages to come up with it, but I was able to work on it for a little while, and I slowly came up with it. Up here is the cottage. This is a place that is on every single map. It's a reoccurring thing. Up here is the Crestlink Mountain, and this is the Crestlink Mountain. The eastern part of the mountains is the Crestlink Mountain Range. The western part is the Celestia Mountain Range. Crestlink is just the name of the castle over there. Crestlink is technically not a kingdom. It's just a region within the Celestia Kingdom. There's some lore there. I really should take a long video going over the lore of like Celestia and all that. But over here we have Gorod Glacier. Over there was Pinewood Promenade. I think I said that. But this is Gorod Glacier, which is just Great Glacier in German. And this view, absolutely lovely. I really need to make another like view like this in like Chapter 9, and especially Chapter 10. I have so many ideas just given the style that I'm going for Chapter 10. I'm so excited. But yes, it's just a bunch of reused buildings, but I don't think that matters just because I actually was on a very big time crunch. I started Chapter 7, the construction of it, way late, so I only had 5 months to do it before Chapter 7 actually released, which was bad. Over here, though, we have Celestia's Condolences. Now, this castle is the castle that Mesmer. This was Lawrence's castle. This is the main kingdom castle of Celestia, and of course, it just has to be on the tallest peak in the entire map. It is. This is one of my favorite castles I've ever done. Like, this castle was directly inspired by. I can't remember what this. I think it might have been. It was a mix of different Souls games. It was a mix of like Dark Souls 2, a bit of Dark Souls 3, and I think definitely Elden Ring. Elden Ring was a major inspiration. I think particularly up here, I don't quite remember. I think it might have been um, the Shadow Realm area, but I don't quite remember. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. But this is like the grand hall to the main throne, and of course that's dried chrome because Mesmer used his flame, and the flame is connected to chrome, and blah blah blah. You get the gist of it. Anyway, down here is Sunflower Shire. Now this is I don't remember. This is no Ireland, 100%. This was an Ireland or Irish style POI. This is one of my most lovely POIs I've ever done. I absolutely love the style. It's very fantasy. This map has a bit of fantasy inspiration. Of course, this is the chapter after Origin died, and Nexus slowly began realizing Origin was actually a horrible person. But yeah. Anyway, it's very fun. I did a little thing that I haven't done anywhere else, but you have a store here. Yeah, that little thing. I really should do that at another time. But it's a very cozy, quaint POI. But it really does like it's kind of nice. It's like a POI that what the heck is going on here? It's just lovely. And you have the Tortean Clock Tower and the Tortean House. And you have this little creek up here which comes from somehow the this small little pond up here holds all the water to Celestia Basin. Don't ask any questions. I don't understand it either. Across the way from Celestia's Condolences is Crestlink Castle. Absolutely lovely. Love this place. It has no interior, but it's a great POI. I think, does the cathedral have an interior? No, it doesn't. But it's very nice. You have it's a very it's a POI that kind of like flips on itself. There's a lot of different paths. It's just a whole load of branching paths. I don't know why there's a courtyard here. There was not anything anyway in, but it doesn't really matter. Down here you have this little area, and over here we have another POI whose name I forgot, but it's right next to the Celestia Great Lake. I love the Celestia Great Lake, one of my favorite lakes I've ever done. This is Hazy Hillside. Yeah, I don't know why I was all jacked up like that. Anyway, oh, there was gonna be a river there, I do remember, but that didn't come to fruition. As you can see, there's like a dried river right there, bit of storytelling, and there's the Celestia Great Bridge right here. Once again, slightly inspired off of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears, but anyway, it doesn't really matter. Um, very, very cool. It has a very nice view. There's like this island in the middle of the lake. It's very, very nice. This is a German style POI. I know it does look to have a little bit of like Italian or Spanish architecture, but the intention is to kind of have a bit of German. Oh, is it German? No, it is German. I made a like a I I made a synagogue style building here, and perhaps never mind, forget it. Oh, there's ticking. Oh yeah, it was like a ticking clock that I made in there. Very very fun. Um, but yeah, it's a lovely place. You have this little greenhouse over here. This is absolutely amazing. I have reused this greenhouse before, just so you know. It's been reused in. Oh, was it reused in Chapter 8? No, it wasn't. But it is reused in Chapter 9. Spoilers. But now we're getting to my favorite POI on this map. Not of all time. I don't know what my favorite POI. Lost Luho is up there, but the Chapter 9 city, mwah, amazing. This is a standard, like, English style POI. Very obviously. As you can see, the 0 point crater has sucked in. There was the Celestia clock tower here before, but it's gone now. You have this little like train station. Oh yeah, there's also train tracks going across like this area and down to the city. There's a really really cool view that you can get from over here. Where's Noon? Noon's over there. Why is Noon up there? That's oh okay, never mind. Forget it. Um, you have this like train track going through this entire like um mountain. Gosh, I'll show you like my favorite view of the Celestia Great Lake, and it's like right here. It is so pretty. I really need to do another thing like this in like chapter 8 or chapter 10 or something. Um, but anyway, now we're moving to sadly my least favorite POI on this map. This is Celestia Stat. It's a city, and the city in question is god awful on so many levels. I mean I think it's fine. I think it works fine, but it is not very. This was the final POI I did, and that was such a mistake, especially on a time crunch. You just have empty blocks like this. I, yeah, it is not my proudest work, but alas, I can't remake it. The deed has been done, and I think it does. I think it works fine. I just tried making the city way larger than it needed to be. It took up way too much room, and you know that's fine. I guess like I made a mistake, and now I can learn from it. But over here is a lovely like suburban house. This building was reused in Chapter 8 once, twice maybe. But it's very, I really, this is my favorite suburban house that I've ever done. It really feels like a standard, like European suburban house, or just honestly any style of suburban house. It's very nice. Anyway, oh, sorry. Mistake it. No, this is definitely my second favorite POI. This is in the Goldwood biome. The Goldwood has only been seen twice in Chapter 5, as well as Chapter 7. So it's a Chapter 5 and 7 respective biome. Not saying that it won't come back like ever again, but given that there's only 2 chapters left after Chapter 8, who knows, really. I'm also not just going to spoil anything, so yeah. Oh, sorry, we did miss one POI. This is Breakwater Border. Love this POI. Great POI. Amazing. No harm, no foul. One of my first POIs on this map, and it really just feels like a standard English POI. But gosh, I love the Goldwood. This Goldwood is one of my favorite versions because I mixed the style of a chaparral biome seen near, like seen in, what would it be? Like Spanish, areas like Spain. Wow, sorry, should just have said Spain. It mixes that with a little bit of a standard coniferous forest you'd see maybe in Canada or something. And of course, I think it worked very well. Oh, this was the Christmas theme POI. This was like the Santa's Workshop style POI. This chapter, I've done one every single time there Christmas comes by, and that means there will be one in Chapter 9. Chapter 9 also won't be getting another mini map like Festive Falls, but there will continue to be mini maps. But Chapter 8 has taken its leave on those. Chapter 9 will start them back up again. But this is Ringland Ridge. Now, the Goldwood is described as Ringland, and Celestia were kind of evil people to the Ringlanders. I forgot they were owned, or they were kind of like ruled by the Iron King. And his castle was like on the top of this mountain at one point, and then Mesmer kind of burnt it alive. But the inspiration here was actually from Cars 2. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but there's a bunch of like bridges going around like a little like island, and it's very like Italian style. And of course, this is a Spanish style POI, but it doesn't really matter. You'll see that once we go over to like the wine areas. It's like not that like Spaniards drink a lot of wine. It's just that like I looked up a vineyard in Spain and there was a winery, and this is what it looked like. It was very simple. Yeah, this is maybe it's close to being my first or my number one pick for POIs, but like it just isn't. But the visual storytelling of like the fire braziers going all the way across the mountains in this region is very nice. And is that it? That is Melbourne's manor over there, by the way. I think that would be about it. There's maybe one POI that I forgot to go over, but I don't really care to go over it because it's a bad looking POI, and I don't really want to do that. So, yeah. Anyway, let's take a little gander at like other seasons that I've done. So we'll go to season 2, season 3, season 4, season 5, and then season 6. We don't need to do season 7 just because there's no need to do it. So, yes, let's go to season 2, and I'll quickly just go over the style of that. This is wow, started raining immediately. This is the first ever typical Asian this is the first ever Asian style season that I did. The general style of this season was the 0 point sort of awakened again. That's sorry, wrong term or wrong grammar. And it created this sort of like outbreak of just like stuff. And this biome is called the Nightshade Forest. Gosh, this is maybe my favorite biome of all time so far. Maybe other than like the wetland biome from chapter what would be chapter 8. Sadly it's gone though. But it was replaced with another good biome. I really like chapter 8. But this is very obviously like this is a typical like Japanese style season. It's not like cyberpunk Japanese or like futuristic Japanese or modern Japanese. It is very like traditional, old style Japanese mixed with the fantasy aesthetic because the season is named fantasy. Like that's what the name of the season is. And oh yes, I forgot. This was the little teaser for season 3. Season 3 was so good. I loved season 3 of this chapter, but golly, the city was terrible. I did really bad on cities. Over here you have a little pagoda. But over here you have Kenjutsu Castle. I think that's wrong. I think I did that wrong. But this is sort of like it's a very like nice POI with like a bunch of like cool like parkour things and stuff. It's lovely. There's a few statues around. There, yes, you have a little fox here. Over here you have a dragon, and I don't remember. Yes, there's a frog. Is that it? I think that might be it. But it's a very nice POI. This POI is very nice. I love Japanese architecture. Like that it's my like it's a very easy architecture for me to do. Like I've always been good at it, and I think I will continue to be good at it till the day I die, I guess. I don't know. But this is one of my favorite POIs. If the fog wasn't here, then maybe it'd be easier to see. Um Anyway, moving up to the north, yes, I removed my favorite POI on this map by the second season. Moving up north, we go to the Gulag, and this is, up here, is my favorite POI of Chapter 7, and like, at this current moment in time. There may be better POIs later on. I will go over this one very quickly this season. This might be the last POI I show, just because, like, you can get the gist of other POIs. Just because there's no need to really go over them, that much. They're all very similar, but, like, they're not very similar. Every single POI this season does have a style or something or other to sort of differentiate itself. Wow. I'm so sorry. But, this is Hopper Hideaway. Now, this POI is genuinely one of my favorite ones I've ever done. This is like a Chinese, not Japanese style POI. It is so nice, and I absolutely love this place. You have this lake over here, and this lake actually leads to a little, like, thing underneath the pagoda. I really, my big thing with this chapter as well was sort of going heavy detailing. And I think I did that pretty well. And I don't know, it's very nice. It's very nice. So yeah, I suppose without further ado, I could just move on to the next season, which is season 3, Nuevo. All right. So I was unable to find season 3, and I didn't want to go through the hassle. So instead, we're just going to season 4. But every season 3 POI sticks through season 4. I think I just lied. Wait a minute. No, I didn't. I didn't lie. Anyway, this is the Biodomes. This is genuinely one of the most creative POIs I've ever done. It has like it's multiple biomes within like these small like domes, and it was so fun to make these. You may have noticed it's sort of like futuristic style. The style I went for was kind of like Miami synthwave, and mixed with like a bit of future, and it's sort of another. It's kind of a remix, a redoing rather of chapter 2, season 1. I decided to sort of redo it, and I think it's I think it's very faithful, and I adore it. I really do want to do another season like this at some point. It's just when, I don't know. And I will definitely need to go for a different style than rather than just futuristic. Maybe like dark Miami synthwave. I don't know. But here we have a Nuevo nightclub. By the way, Nuevo is just Spanish for new. That's exactly it. And I really like this POI. This POI was great. Way better than the previous one here. Of course, I like the previous one, but blah, blah, blah. Forget about it. This POI, on the other hand, Night Shift Neotropolis. I actually really like this city. I lied to you. I said it was bad, but that's just because there was no interiors. This POI is absolutely lovely, especially because there's a canal going right through it, and I really liked building the canal. This is it's a very simple POI. Oh, we're getting there in a second. Spoilers. This is definitely one of my more ambitious seasons. I had a lot of time in between, because at this point, I was already done with season 2, and I was barely even halfway through season 1. So I had a lot of time to go and build stuff. And build stuff I did, to an absolutely insane regard. There are a lot of things. added to this map during Season 3, and they are all absolutely wonderful. I love this season, and that's why I want to do another season like it, so that way I can sort of like create it on a better version. You have also maybe noticed there's some red trees around. Maybe weird. Don't look at the map. Don't look at the map, please. Anyway, over here we have leveled labs. Now, this is the Season 4 POI with the meteor, but Season 4, oh boy. Let's go to Drowned Doors. Not a POI, a landmark. There's a really cool thing with Season 4. I made these, like, telelanterns connect to multiple different POIs. So over here, we had leveled lab. But up here, we can go to... Nope, we're gonna go over here. Over here is faulty facility. And I don't know why it's called faulty facility, actually. Wow. Why is it called that? Anyway, this is another Season 4 POI. We'll do the Season 4 POI here. The big idea with Season 4 were meteors, just in case you were wondering. This is a Greek-style POI, just in the ruined Roman Greek, I don't know. Ruins, yeah. Anyway, over here, we have a coastal cruise. This POI, it may look goofy, and maybe because it is goofy, but I really want to do another boat-themed POI at some point. I feel like I could really do it a little bit better. And I love this POI. I think it's amazing how goofy and cartoonish the scale of the POI is. But I do think I can change some stuff. Also, over here was a Season 4 POI that I added for the sake of adding it. It's Cucumber Co. Returned in Chapter 8. In the jungle. Absolutely lovely. It's just a pickle farm. I don't know. I was having a field day creating this stuff. Anyway, let's go over to the other side of the map. Because there are specifically a few POIs I want to go over there. We'll go over we'll hop into here again, and we'll teleport to Drowned Doors, and we'll just make our way out of Drowned Doors because I didn't show you where that was. This is just another area where the meteor hit, but I don't know where the meteor... I don't think I placed down a meteor here. I did, right there. And, of course, it's on this little island. This is the maple biome. Oh, boy, I really want to do more maple biomes. I loved doing this one. It was so fun. Up here we have Crestlink College. It replaced Crestlink Castle, but I think it's fine. This is another POI without an interior, but who cares? It looks cool. It has aura. It's neon. It's pretty. Blah blah blah. Who cares? There actually is a bit of interior over here, but I don't really care to go over it. Anyway, moving on. I really do want to do another school style POI. Wow, sorry, I yawned. This will be the final one I go over. Down there we have Bashed Basin. We're not going over that one yet. We'll go over that one later. Over here is Forgotten Foundations. You may have noticed there's some weird rocks here and some weird monoliths here. Of course, this was the first full reveal of monoliths and stuff like that. Big reveal for this season. Absolutely giant. And of course, add some lore. But this down here is, I forgot what the name of this area is. I think it's the central one. Yes, Sunken City of the Monolith. I really liked that POI. It was fun to do. It was easy. It was just a bunch of ruins. I'm really good at ruins. Anyway, let's move on to Season 5. This here is Season 5. You may have noticed Bashed Basin turned into a jungle, but the story here is the Wastelanders, which are part of the Core, which is the main villain of Chapter 7, or the main villain faction of Chapter 7. They became Wastelanders. the four-man was actually inside the meteorite, broke out of the meteorite, and came here and made a giant, like, terrifying, futuristic, scary city. And this place looks absolutely amazing when it's raining in midnight, which makes absolutely no sense given the fact that it's in the middle of a wasteland. This is a POI that's only been ever used once. But I don't think that really matters. As you can see, there's some absolutely amazing, like, buildings here. I love this season was very fun. This is actually, I think, Melancholy Metropolis, and it's, yeah, we got a huge casino here. We have a giant cathedral here, and we have the Four Man's Tower. I think this is actually the Four Man's, yeah, the Four Man's Towers or whatever. Um, and the symbol of the core is an Ouroboros. But I kind of just decided to put two koi fish eating each other there. Not because that's the symbol. That's not an Ouroboros. I just wanted to do that. Down here, though, down here, we have a little area where the team of five set up. It was only Scarlet and Nexus because the rest of them got taken by the four-man and put into the prison where the rest of them were held, you know. But I don't think I'm going to go over anything else. Like, none of the other POIs are actually that interesting this season. So, yeah, it was primarily the city. And, yeah, I suppose without further ado, let's move on to Season 6, my favorite season of Chapter 7. You may have noticed there's a little bit of a major change this season, and that is the Palewood Grove. But we'll get there in a second. There's also a major change here. The entire place was blown up. So yeah, that happened in the event, and it opened up this vault down here, and yeah, that happened. Anyway, Palewood Grove, that's the name of it. As you can see, there's a cathedral, and this is actually a Bloodstone Church. Over here, it's Cathedral Chasm, though. That is the Bloodstone Church, like the actual one, and this is actually this is here because one of the monoliths sort of sent the region where the Palewood Grove is back in time to when it originally was, like what it would have looked like back then. And I have no idea how this went. Oh yeah, no, actually I do know. Lawrence actually completely reshaped the island at the end of like the major thing throughout the story. So yeah. Over here we have Lonely Lodge, though. Lodge Lake. Lodge Lake. Lake Lodge. That's what it is. And it's kind of like it's a creepy... This season was a Halloween theme season, the only one that I'll ever do, and sadly there won't be a Christmas theme season, but that's okay. I don't really know what I would do there for the story anyway. This down here is Crimson City, and I really want to do another POI like this. This is like inspired by your typical like North American small town city, somewhere like Estes Park, which is actually the primary inspiration, as well as Rapid City. And I really wanted to go super like detailed, but yet creepy with the POI, and also there may or may not be a chicken jockey reference here with all the popcorn spill on the ground. That is up to interpretation to what the screen had there. But this was when the movie was pretty referenced. So yeah. Over here though, you have the little bay area. This is actually my second favorite city I've ever done, just under Los Lujo. This is kind of when my cities started becoming actual cities and less like small zero interior wastelands of suburban nightmares. Yeah, I think it's very nice. This is definitely my favorite season of the entire chapter. I think season 7 was wonderful, but this season was way better. Over here we have Cremonian Citadel. Oh my gosh, that actually jump scared me. There's jump scares everywhere in this biome. Oh my Lanta. Over here is one of my favorite areas. I really like parts of like mountainous regions that are just like kind of not flat, but they don't have much going on. I should have added like grass here, but I just didn't. But this is Cremonian Citadel, and it's because this is actually inspired. The people of this region are called the Cremonians, so that's just the story behind them. And it's a very nice like valley here, mountains. You have this giant bridge, and you have the actual castle. See, I wouldn't call it. Oh, Cremonian Citadel sounds way better than Cremonian Cat. Oh no, Cremonian Castle, but Cremonian Citadel kind of has aura to it though. Anyway, over here we have pumpkin pumpkin. There's no way I called it pumpkin patch, did I? I might have. Wow. Pumpkin pastures. See, I'm creative. Um, yeah. Also, every single tree has like a creepy face on it. It's so cool. Yeah, I love it. Um, mm, I might have lied. Not every single one has a creepy face, but most of them do. And of course, it's a Halloween theme season. You know, you have to have that pumpkin patch style POI. And of course, it replaced the lovely breakwater border, but you know, who really cares? It's okay. Um, and I think that's it for this season. This season was also this season had like actually my favorite river I'd like ever. I don't know why this river is so cool. It goes from this mini swamp area all the way out into the Celestia Great Bay. Absolutely love it. I think it's absolutely wonderful. And it did extend the map a little bit, but Chapter 7, Season 7, that was a major extension to the map. But I suppose that's about it for this season, or this entire video, I guess. So, yes, I suppose, let's find I really, my favorite view of Crimson City is right at the front, right over here. So yeah, I suppose, without further ado, if you like this video, please unsubscribe. Goodbye.